This bill seeks to amend the Wildlife Act 1976 to provide legal protection for the sprat fish by including it in the 5th schedule of the Act. This would prohibit the targeted fishing of sprat and would place a moratorium on commercial sprat fishing until sufficient scientific data is available regarding its population dynamics, habitat use and ecological function. The bill will also specify that incidental bycatch of protected fish species is not prohibited, and that it provides a mechanism for the Minister, in consultation with the Minister for the Marine, to revoke the protected status in the future, contingent on the development of species-specific management plan and allocation of a sustainable quota. And in recognition of the potential economic impact on fishers currently reliant on these fisheries, the bill also mandates the development of a just transition plan, which must be done and developed in consultation with relevant stakeholders. Now, look, this is going to be a bit of a biology lesson. I would imagine most people, when you mention the word sprat, have no real understanding of what sprat is. Sprat are a very small fish, maybe 10 centimetres long. They only live for 3, 4, 5 years, very short-lived species, and they tend to congregate in our inshore areas, and the fishing for them is primarily in September or so. They are not hugely economically valuable. The entire sprat fishery in Ireland is worth less than 5 million a year, because most of the sprat that are caught are essentially just crushed up and used in fish meal or pet food. It's not used for human consumption. So the value on them isn't very high from an economic perspective. However, from an ecological perspective, they are invaluable. Most, or an awful lot of marine species rely on sprat for food. So other fish, cod, haddock, herring, will feed on sprat. Seabirds feed on sprat. So our puffins, our kittiwakes, our terns, whales and dolphins feed on sprat. It's estimated that over 70% of the humpbacks that would come into Irish waters are reliant on sprat for food. So they are hugely important. If we don't have sprat in our waters, we don't have seabirds, we don't have whales and dolphins, we don't have other fish. So they're a really important part of the food chain. Unfortunately, because they're not economically viable or important, we haven't really had a fisheries management focus on them to date. There's no plan for them. There's no real monitoring of them. We don't have a total allowable catch or a quota for them. So it's pretty much a free-for-all. And so what we find is that, we have a lot of inshore fishers, and indeed some of the larger boats do focus in September on these fisheries. But there is no regulation of that. Those fishermen aren't doing anything illegal. But I do think that the state needs to step in and actually regulate these fisheries so that we can manage it sustainably, and that we don't actually, I suppose, really kill the golden goose. I mean, that's what we're talking about here. So what this bill does is introduces what really it's called the precautionary principle, which is a sort of fundamental principle in marine fisheries management. If you don't have the data, you stop doing what you're doing, and you wait until you have the data. Once you have the data, then you can manage it properly. The absence of the data, you're not able to manage it, and you're at risk of completely overfishing and collapsing the stock, which would be absolutely catastrophic for so many industries, fishing industry included. We're currently at a point now, there was 3,500 tonnes of sprat fished in 2018. In the last few years, we're looking at 15,000 tonnes. The International Council for Exploration of Sea, which is the EU entity that deals with fisheries, they reckon around 2,200 tonnes should be caught. We are way over that, and the population is at real risk. I know the government have tried to bring in measures in 2018. There was a proposal to stop the large pair trawlers from fishing within the 6-mile zone, and that was really welcome. Unfortunately, that was overturned in 2020, and what we've seen from there is a real focus by boats on actually exploiting as much as we can of this stock. At this stage, because we have had such a significant fishing of this species, I think we just need to stop it completely until we have the data in place, and that's what this bill will do. So hopefully we'll get support for it. Thank you.
Deputy, is the bill being opposed? Not being opposed. Can I ask the Deputy to move that the second stage be taken in private members' time.
I move.
You move. Is that agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.